This podcast contains graphic descriptions that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Now, with that being said, welcome to the Mortal Musings podcast.
Right, let's do this.
I think the funniest thing I've ever seen is the time that Alexa viciously attacked Neil for his speech. You know, whenever you use these like fucking speech to text things, like they're shite, yeah? I think we've all experienced it.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing, Neil searched Norman wisdom. It literally came back and said nonsense. Nonsense is what you're like. I cracked up laughing. Because you're really funny with it as well, because you get aggressive. If he doesn't understand you the first time, you're like, I'll try it again. A little bit more concise. And then by the third or fourth time, you're like shouting at it. And it literally just said nonsense. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's, you're always telling me I don't speak properly.
Yeah, I don't either. Don't worry about it. I can hardly fucking speak. I can hardly string a sentence together, for fuck's sake.
Also, do you remember you knew I was a fan of Norman Wisdom. So something you like to do is you start digging and then you're like, well, you might find him funny, but apparently he was a piece of shit to work with.
There's quite a few...
And do you remember I told my dad and he went, nah, he's a gent.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
If you, like my dad, if it's a comedian or a singer who, you know, he really likes and he's never seen anything in an interview or anything, and then, like, it's always going to be, did he do it with Michael Jackson? My dad immediately was like, no. You don't know that. Is he a fan
of Michael Jackson?
What?
Is he a fan of Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, the thing, I think the big thing to remember is just because they're a great artist or what have you, doesn't mean they're not a piece of shit. Like, just separate them in your mind.
Yeah.
Like, we've said it multiple times, people are complex. They can be more than one fucking thing.
But when I said to him, oh no, Megan showed me, you know, he was a piece of shit to women he worked with. Nah, he's a gent. That was it.
Denial to the last.
So I was going to ask what we're doing, but if we're going off of last week, we're doing...
Railroad Killer.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, we're going to take a look into the serial killer, Ángel Reséndiz, also known as the Railroad Killer.
Oh, I've got it down here as Angel Fernandez.
Oh, I don't know where you've got that from.
So how many victims did he have total?
A lot. So basically, we'll get into it, but there's quite a lot that he has confessed to or is suspected of.
Okay.
So during this episode, I will be referring to him as Ángel, although I have heard his name pronounced as Ángel. I'm not quite sure which it was they went by, but yeah, I've heard Ángel said more, so we're just going to go with that. So Ángel... Sorry, fuck me. Ángel Leoncio Reyes Reséndiz was born in Puebla, Mexico on the 1st of August, 1959.
That's some mouthful.
Don't forget, this guy had a lot of aliases. So he had to remember a hell of a lot.
Is that them all?
No, that's his name. That's what he was born. Yeah?
Imagine him being from Yorkshire with all them vowels.
He would have been fucked. His mother was Virginia de Maturino, and I couldn't find a name for his father. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think his father was involved in his life.
Some soldier.
Some soldier.
So they have on the birth certs, don't they, when they don't know who the father is?
So his mother's actually spoke about his childhood, and she said that he spent his formative years with another family rather than with her, and that he lacked proper guidance. She also said that he was dropped on his head when he was a baby. Like, I mean, right after he was born.
You always say, but you sure I was.
Do I?
Yeah,
I know.
A flat spot on my head.
Oh yeah, you do, yeah. But I don't think you were dropped. I think, because you have an older brother, you know the way sometimes them little shits, the eldest get jealous and they like push in the soft spot?
I don't remember that. He brought me thumb.
Well, you know, we know head trauma, no good, yeah?
Mm.
It's pretty well known, I'd say. Another incident was when he was a young lad. Another student fucked a rock at his head. So
that'd do it.
Yeah. His mother also believes that there may have been sexual abuse during his upbringing or lack thereof.
What do you mean lack of?
Lack of an upbringing.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean lack of? Fucking hell.
Did that not come across in how I said it? There could have been this, but there probably wasn't.
Yeah, she suspected sexual assault or lack of, and I was like, what?
So basically, yes, no, up or down. He was pretty much left on his own from a very young age. Just sort of, roamed the streets, did what he wanted. So, I
did that when I was... No, right, when I was a young lad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's me and my brother, and we were both given an house key.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so both my parents work full time. So when it were on summer holidays, school holidays, and I lost my key, and my dad said, "You're not having another one.
Figure it out."
Yeah, you're not having another one. And I said, "Well, this isn't fair because you lot go out at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you don't come back until 5, 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
If I go out, I can't get out." And he said, "Well, you can, but you have to stay out for the day."
Do you know what it is? Do you know what they treated you like?
A
cat. You're in or you're out.
I always got that said to me. You're either in or you're out.
That's fucking terrible.
So yeah, I would have to get up in the morning, and sometimes I'd have to wait like an hour until my other friends were even awake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just scratching at the back door, weren't you?
They must have looked at me like, "Look at this feral."
Yeah. You actually did have one of your friends, his mother, would like sit there and just make you slice toast after toast. Like
a loaf.
You and your mate would go through a full loaf.
Yeah, she had one of them like toast rack things on the table. Yeah, and she used to cut the toast up into triangles and she'd slot it in. And by the time the next toast had popped up, that had gone.
Do you know, I when you tell me this, I picture like a production line that she's like struggling to keep up with the demand. Yeah. But yeah, Neil was a feral child. So, not the greatest of childhoods. Moving into his adult life, Angel was said to have been religious, and that was something that he would use as almost a justification for some of his crimes. At one point later, he describes himself as a Christian Jew.
What?
I'm not entirely sure what he means by that. It was something to do with how Jesus Christ was a Jew, therefore he is. But, that's how he wants to identify.
Okay.
Now, Angel was also married to a woman named Julieta, and she described him as a model husband, and they also had a child together. Now, he was said to have adored his daughter. He loved his daughter almost too much. He kept saying how she was so beautiful. That's what his wife said about him.
Mm.
So, to do with his wife, he had actually told her about a previous conviction he had from 1988, but not the fucking rest. So I'm guessing that was maybe give them a little something. They don't think I'm perfect. They don't think I'm an angel, but,
Angel.
She said about him, "We've been living together for 5 years and I had no idea about this. He never was violent or sadistic. He was a gentleman in all the small details. He never failed to open the car door for me." But with that, she also said, if he did what they are saying, his spirit is rotting and his mind must be disturbed.
See, I remember when we first got together.
Go on.
What are you laughing at?
Is this the black sludge thing?
What?
You said my heart pumps black sludge.
No, I was going to say I was holding doors open for you and stuff. And you were like, "You don't need to do that. Irish men don't do that." That's what you said.
I've never experienced that. I've never experienced some, just decent people, male or female.
Yeah.
But I've never had like a partner who was like, "Oh, let me get the door for you. Let me do this. Let me," like one thing, right? I don't need that. I think it's very sweet if someone does it, but you shouldn't feel like you have to any more than you would for someone else. One thing I do not fucking like, when someone pulls your chair out and then pushes you into the table, like I can fucking move myself in. It's really awkward.
You always have to adjust yourself anyway.
Yeah, and I imagine if the person pushing the chair, it's like just fucking, you know what I mean? It's awkward. Stop it. Now, Angel and his wife, their neighbours actually had 2 young children, a 4 and an 8-year-old. And they actually had a video that Angel had took of the 8-year-old's birthday party.
Okay.
Now, they had invited him to the party and Angel was said to have been so happy, delighted. You know, I'm guessing he was kind of happy to be included and part of a community from the sounds of it. And the neighbours all said they couldn't believe it either. They had no problems with him whatsoever. Others described him as calm and hardworking.
Here we go.
Well, no, it's like, you know...
Could load 20 trucks a day.
But yeah, like all of this means fuck all, but, you know...
You thought you'd include it.
I thought I'd include it just to waste your time. So here we go. He had an extensive criminal record, okay?
Mm-hmm. Hang on a minute. Sorry, I don't want to jump ahead. So, Angel's married with kids.
Yeah, he has a kid, yeah.
So how's he jumping from state to state, killing people?
I know. I didn't really get it. I don't know if it's because...
Like, if I was...
Did he tell her he was out looking for work and I have to travel? You know, like... Cause
That's what I mean. If I was a sadistic piece of shit, you might not know. But you're going to know if one day I'm on fucking West Coast, then I'm going over to UK, then I'm... You know, because the size of America, then I'm going to Spain, then I'm going... Like...
Yeah.
You'd be questioning... And then don't forget, bodies are popping up everywhere as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, even if you didn't want to believe, you go, well, he did have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get you. So, for a little look into his criminal record. 1977, Mississippi, for destroying private property. 1980 in Florida, for burglary, aggravated assault, and grand theft auto. 1986 in Texas, for making a false representation of US citizenship. 1989 in Missouri, for falsely representing to be a US citizen, being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and re-entry after deportation. 1992 in New Mexico for burglary. 93 in Texas for evading arrest. 95 in California for trespassing. And 96 in Kentucky for trespassing. Now, this list is not all of his charges, but yeah, I think it's enough for fuck's sake. It shows how much he travelled around.
Yeah.
And like we previously said, he used a shit ton of aliases. Not surprising given his lifestyle.
He probably didn't like his name, the fucking length of it.
So his crimes were very disorganised, and he seemed to kill to suit his immediate needs, whether it be food, drink, drugs, money, or shelter. And it has been said that the sexual assaults he committed were almost, quote, secondary. It wasn't the main focus for him. All of his murders took place near railroad tracks again. You know, it was convenient for him.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible to say it was convenient for him, but it just feeds into it was disorganised. It was literally hop off the train, there's a house, you know.
Yeah.
And as for the weapons he used, they were largely weapons of opportunity.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at the victims. On the 16th of December 1998, Dr. Claudia Benton was murdered in her home. She had been stabbed and beaten with a bronze statue and also raped. Items had been stolen from her home along with her Jeep. Her Jeep was found in a motel parking lot the next day. Fingerprints were found in her home as well as her car. Her bag and ID were left out, displayed. Now, he'd also...
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he did this. It was kind of a thing.
Why does that sound familiar?
Well, here's something else he did that might sound familiar. He stopped for a little snicky snack while he was in her home. Made himself a bit of food.
In the house?
Yeah, he did this multiple times.
See, that's where they go wrong. Well, no, I shouldn't say that.
That's where they fucked themselves up?
Yeah, because the longer you're in the house, the more evidence you're leaving in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think it's fucking wise to stop and make a tuna melt, yeah.
So on the 30th of April 1999, Norman and Karen Cernick were both murdered in their home.
Norman.
It's a great name. They had both been beaten to death with a sledgehammer, and Karen had also been raped. Fingerprints found at the scene were linked to the murder of Claudia. An FBI profiler was also able to link these murders to the murder of Christopher Mayer and the attempted murder of Holly Dunn. So we've got these 3 sets of murders that can be connected.
Holly Dunn, that was last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the other murders that he would later be linked to or confess to. In 1986, Angel claims he met a woman in a homeless shelter in Texas. They ended up leaving together to go, for some target practice, apparently.
Is that euphemism?
No.
Oh. It's the way you said it.
I did sound a bit weird. Do you want me to try it again? I'll try it again.
No, you're leaving that in.
They ended up leaving for some target practice. Her body would later be found in an abandoned farmhouse, and she had been shot 4 times with a .38 caliber. And again, this is one he confessed to. He said his reason for killing her was that she disrespected him.
Yeah, don't do that.
And she has also never been identified.
Oh, really?
Still don't know who that woman was.
Which, this is what, in the not in the 70s?
This murder he claims to have done was in 86.
Yeah, so I find it strange but they can't fucking figure out who it is.
She might have just been too badly decomposed, or no one came forward for her, because she was from a homeless shelter, so maybe she'd been out of state, didn't have family, you know. So again in 86, Angel claims he shot a man and dumped his body into a creek in the San Antonio area. And he claims that this man was the boyfriend of his previous victim. Now, his reason for killing the man was that this guy was supposed to be involved in black magic. Again, this person has never been identified, and also no body was ever found. So we're just taking Angel's word for it.
Okay.
19th of July 1991 in San Antonio, Texas. 22-year-old Michael White was found in the yard of an abandoned house. Michael had been beaten to death with a brick. During Angel's confession, he drew a map of the crime scene. And his reason for killing Michael? He said that Michael was gay, so according to Angel, that was reason enough to kill him.
But he killed him because he was gay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the 23rd of March 1997 in Ocala, Florida, 19-year-old Jesse Howell was beaten to death with a rail car air brake hose. I didn't know what that was. I had to look it up.
A hose?
Yeah, but I was like, a hose? How do you beat someone with it? But there's a big metal head on it. His body was left beside the railroad tracks. Jesse's 16-year-old fiancée, Wendy, she was also attacked. Wendy had been raped and suffocated. Now, the way that he suffocated her was a terrifying image. Along with manual strangulation, Angel had also wrapped duct tape around her face.
Her entire face?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. I don't know, maybe it was just the lower half, but either way, the image of that's how, it's horrible. So, following his murder of Wendy, he buried her in a shallow grave. And how they came in contact with Angel was Jesse and Wendy had been hopping trains themselves. They were hoping to find some work along their way. And Angel was also in one of the carts that they entered.
Okay.
His reason for killing them was that he believed they were anti-Christian.
Yeah, he's eighth Jew.
He describes himself as a Christian Jew.
Okay.
We're now in Colton, California, and it's the 5th of July, 1997. A 54-year-old drifter named Roberto Castro was beaten to death with a piece of plywood. Angel was never charged with this, but he is considered to be the number one suspect. 29th of August, 1997, in Lexington, Kentucky. This was the night of Chris Mayer's death and Holly Dunn's attack. Now, of course, we go into a lot more detail in the last episode, but for those who haven't heard it, here's a quick breakdown of the attack.
He used a backpack.
Yes, he did. Chris and Holly were walking down the tracks when they encountered Angel. Both Chris and Holly were bound. Angel grabs a rock weighing approximately 50 pounds and just drops it onto Chris's head. He then rapes Holly, viciously beats her, and leaves her for dead. But luckily, Holly survives. And if you haven't listened to it, I'd really appreciate you guys giving it a listen, just if you want to hear a bit more in depth about her survival story.
We'd appreciate it.
We would appreciate it.
Aye.
You could have said it.
What?
You could have said it.
I'm not going to talk over you. I'm not rude.
What? So back to Texas now, and it's the 4th of October 1998. 87-year-old Leafy Mason was beaten to death with an antique fire poker. I don't know why the fact that it was... Yeah, I don't know why the fact that it was antique was noted, but I thought, fuck, it might as well include it. Yeah. Her purse and her ID were left displayed. There was also half-eaten food left.
Oh. There you go. Leaving DNA.
10th of December 98. Oh, sorry, actually, hang on, before I go into that one. You say the DNA left behind. Apparently, at her home, when the police were in there, they noticed like really clear palm prints on the window of where he'd opened it. So again, so disorganized. Like you said, leaving the food there, he literally left his prints, like full palm prints on the window.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck. 10th of December 1998 in Carl, Georgia. 81-year-old Fanny Whitney Byers was beaten to death with the rim of a tyre. Now, the thing about this murder...
Wait, rim of a tyre?
Yeah, that's what it said. Same thing with the air brake hose thing. I didn't know exactly what that meant.
Well, it's the rim of a wheel, but
this was how it was described. I even looked it up in case, does this mean something else? You know what I mean? So a couple was actually charged with this murder, but later on, Angel would confess to FBI that he did it. So also in December of 98 was the murder of Claudia Benton, who we mentioned earlier. And the next murders would be that of Norman and Karen Cernick in May of 99. So after that, 4th of June 99 in Houston, Texas, Angel brutally attacks 26-year-old school teacher Noemi Dominguez with a pickaxe in her apartment. A week later, her Honda Civic was discovered near the border.
Okay, now imagine getting attacked by a pickaxe.
Fucking
hell.
I know, this prick's brutal. On the same day as Noemi's murder, 73-year-old Josephine Konvichka was Angel's next target. Again, brutally attacked using the same weapon. And he said he was going to steal her car, but he couldn't find the keys. And at this scene, a newspaper that featured the murder of the Cernicks was found, and Angel had also displayed a toy train near the body. So clearly he was starting to enjoy his title of the railroad killer.
Yeah.
15th of July, 1999. This time we're in Illinois. 80-year-old George Morber Sr. was shot in the head with a shotgun. He robs George's car as well, a red pickup truck, which would then be found about 60 miles away. Fingerprints found at the scene were matched to Angel's.
I'm wanting to get a pickup. No, it really annoys me how common they are in America.
Oh, they all seem to have them.
Yeah. And then over here, they're really expensive and...
They're getting more common over here, though. A lot of people have, like, Rangers and
of course they do. Did you notice there wasn't many of them about? And then when I said, I really like Ford Ranger, I'd love to have one. They're fucking everywhere now.
Yeah, but it's a good thing, because you're going to be able to start getting them secondhand, like, dropped in price, won't you? If they're so common.
Yeah.
On the same day as George's murder, 52-year-old Carolyn Frederick was beaten to death with the same shotgun used in George's murder earlier that day. So I'm guessing he's run out of ammo.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to make a note as well. Between these murders, he was actually getting deported back to Mexico and travelling back to the US. In 1998 alone, he was deported on the 5th of January, the 7th, the 8th, and then in April on the 17th, the 21st and the 22nd, and also on the 3rd of November.
Fuck.
Yeah. And the reason he was never prosecuted during any of this was that they didn't know about the extent of his criminal history or previous deportations.
How did they not know about his previous...
Well, the other thing with him is that he would go voluntarily every time he got caught. So maybe was it like, just make this easy for everybody. So moving on to the search for the railroad killer and his eventual arrest. In January of 99, police placed lookouts by the border. They knew he was a Mexican citizen and that he had been travelling back and forth. Police raided shelters and soup kitchens in hopes of finding Angel, but they had no luck. Angel also made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And the most wanted poster read, unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, first-degree murder and burglary. And the name listed on it was Rafael Reséndiz Ramirez. His height is listed as 5'7", his weight between 140 and 150 pounds, build medium, hair black, eyes brown. His work is listed as a day labourer or migrant worker. He has a faded tattoo of a snake on his left forearm, and he uses the rail system for transportation. He is considered armed and dangerous. 60,000 plus local rewards. And I think that later went up to 125,000. So
And back then.
Yeah.
Well, back then. This is what, mid-90s now?
This is in 99.
Oh.
That's still 25 years ago. You know what I mean?
I hate to think that. No.
Yeah. No.
No, right, because
That's hilarious.
I were looking at cars to buy.
You genuinely sounded devastated there.
Yeah, no, I did the other day. So I was looking at it might have been a Ford Ranger. No, it wouldn't have been a Ford Ranger. I can't remember what car it was, but it was a 2014. And I was like, oh, that's fairly new. And then I was like, that's fucking 10 years old. It's mad.
Time's flying by, lads.
Mm.
So the FBI, they received a shit ton of tips claiming to know him or having seen. Well, I was going to say Raphael, Angel, whichever. But there was also a bit of a fuck up. Okay. So in June of 99, Angel was actually apprehended by the INS. But when they searched his name on the computer, nothing came up. They didn't realise that he was one of the most wanted men in America. And so they just deported him.
They just sent him back to Mexico?
Yeah. Now, there was an investigation launched into how and why this happened. But that fuck up cost more people their lives.
Fucking hell.
The authorities also decided to bring the case to America's Most Wanted, and they got a fuckload of calls for that. One of the calls came from a woman named Lupe, and she said she was Angel's cousin. She had also told them that the name they had for him, Rafael Reséndiz Ramirez, was actually his uncle's name.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're kind of like, who the fuck are you? Is this real? Is this whatever? So they quickly ask her, what's his mother's name? It wasn't public at the time. So they were like, well, what's his mother's name? And she tells them. She goes, Virginia. So they're like, oh, shit. They know.
Yeah. Got him.
Yeah. So she tells them that Angel actually has a sister called Manuela who lives in Albuquerque. So they go and they talk to his sister. Now, Angel's sister Manuela, she works with the authorities. She feared that he would be killed by the police or that he himself would kill again. And so she helped them capture her brother. Not long after, Manuela contacted authorities to say that her brother had in fact been in contact with her. And he had told her that he was tired. It's always crazy to me when you have this person committing these horrific acts and they're like, oh, I'm tired from it. I just want to give it up. It's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So on the 13th of July, 1999, after hours and hours of back and forth phone calls, and the phone calls were between Angel and Manuela, but it was basically the FBI and Texas Rangers using her as the middleman kind of thing. So, yeah, after that, Angel agrees to meet with them. On the El Paso Bridge, Texas Ranger Drew Carter, Kimberly Barkhausen of the FBI, and his sister Manuela wait on the El Paso Bridge for Angel to arrive. Angel arrives in worn jeans, a long-sleeve shirt, and a pair of muddy boots. He walks over and extends his hand to Drew Carter, and they shook hands. And with that, Angel surrenders.
Shook his hand?
Yeah.
I'd have smacked... If he'd have come over to shake my hand, I'd have smacked it away.
I mean, yeah, it does seem crazy, but I suppose Drew Carter was just so happy that he surrendered. There was no...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, for him, that's a good day, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The way I said that, I sound like a fucking Kardashian. It was a good day.
I've been listening to that My Favourite Murder too much.
Yeah. Now, while in jail, Angel wrote an 11-page letter.
To who?
To a Houston television station. Now, it was said that he didn't directly address the murders, but did write about his religion and his, quote, enemy. He said that the reason he surrendered was not because he was good, but because he was afraid of his wife being arrested. He also said, I've been fighting this creature all my life, and now I know it is me.
Why would his wife get arrested?
He seemed very worried that any of his family could be implicated because of him.
Okay.
He was really concerned that they would be treated badly.
All right.
He also gave a shout out to his dogs back in Mexico that he loved.
Fuck off.
His attorney had said that Angel sent these letters without his knowledge. And that Angel obviously did get a lot of attention from media while in jail, and that as his attorney had advised him not to speak. To which Angel simply replied, bollocks to you. So before his trial, Angel was given a psychiatric evaluation, and he was found to be mentally disturbed, but not insane. Angel was charged with 7 murders, but was only tried for the murder of Claudia Benton. And like we discussed during our previous episode, Holly Dunn, the sole survivor of the railroad killer, testified against Angel.
Is there a reason why he were only tested for 1?
I don't know. Maybe they felt like they didn't have a strong enough case, or maybe it was a matter of funding. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Now, I usually ask you this when I can. How long do you think the jury deliberated for?
But there's a lot of information in this one.
But he was only tried for the 1 murder.
An hour.
10 hours of deliberation.
Okay, now.
Now, the jury found Angel guilty.
Do you know what that is? They're taking piss with free coffee and biscuits.
Completely taking advantage of the situation, lads. So yeah, the jury found Angel guilty and he was sentenced to death. Angel's execution took place on the 27th of June in 2006. As Angel was about to be executed and the families affected by what he'd done watched on, he had a few words to say.
Ollie weren't there though.
No.
Yeah.
She chose not to attend. So he asked the families for forgiveness. He also asked for forgiveness from God for, quote, allowing the devil to deceive him.
Well, this is something I don't get when it comes to religious folk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's obviously highly religious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows he's going to hell. Like in his head, he's going to hell. Was it worth it? Like I don't.
Yeah,
it's a
like,
very weird fucking...
In his mind, it seems to be that he thinks basically the devil's got in or whatever is taking over him. If you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he's saying, like, how did he word it? He said, allowing the devil to deceive me. Yeah, so he's thinking, like, I've allowed this, I don't know, badness to get in. Yeah, I don't know. Like, neither of us are religious.
That's what I mean. If I was highly religious, I would do everything by the book. You know, I'd want to make sure I'm going to heaven. Yeah,
I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Knowing but you're sending yourself to hell. Quote.
Well, with that, his last words were, I deserve what I am getting.
What did he get?
What?
What did he get?
Well, the death penalty.
No, I know that, knobhead. I mean, gas chamber.
Well, if you let me finish. And with that, Angel Reséndiz, the railroad killer, received his lethal injection.
Okay.
There you go.
See, was that so hard?
Well, it took a little bit longer. That was an extra, 10, 15 seconds. Yeah. Oh. There you go. One survivor, Holly Dunn.
So, I've started rewatching Big Bang Theory. So in Megan, because Megan doesn't like Big Bang Theory, there's something wrong with her. So when she's asleep, that's when I'll watch it. But then if I start feeling tired and I'm going to start drifting, I still need something on the telly. So I have all these, like, I'm trying to think what they're called. There's different true crime.
Yeah, like forensic files, like
it's not
like a half hour.
It's not. There's one called Crime Nation.
It's true crime shows.
Yeah, and so I just threw a random one on a random episode. I'm not paying attention to them. It's just noise in the background, and I'm guessing it was something to do with this. You fucking out of nowhere, like startled me because I was drifting. Screamed at me, turn it off now. I'm covering this.
Yeah, but it wasn't that I was covering the case. It was that it was the next one to record.
But I'm still not 100% if it was that.
It was.
It was this.
It was.
Okay.
And I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? I told you I was covering this, but obviously I don't tell you the details because I want you to be able to sit and kind of...
I didn't know we were covering this.
You absolutely did. That's your justification.
Right, let's get on to an oddity.
Okay.
So can I watch the episode now?
Go ahead.
Okay.
See, right, okay, here's something I get very upset with. Not that this is the case because you are watching true crime, but sometimes you'll watch a movie based off of a true story and you'll mix up the fact and the fiction. I get worried you're going to do that on the podcast. Do you want me to give you a nicer one for today?
Yeah.
So, have you ever heard of the Human Library?
No.
No, this is a nice one.
Is it?
No, it is, honestly. It's not like fucking body parts and shite.
Okay.
It's a nice thing. The Human Library's origins are in Denmark and it started in the year 2000 and it was set up as a way to open a dialogue and it really challenges any stereotypes or preconceived notions that people might have. Now, this is taken directly from their website. The Human Library is, in the true sense of the word, a library of people. We host events where readers can borrow a human being serving as an open book and have conversations they would not normally have access to. Every human book from our bookshelf represents a group in our society that is often subjected to prejudice, stigmatization or discrimination because of their lifestyle, diagnosis, belief, disability, social status, ethnic origin, etc. Described as a place where difficult questions are expected, appreciated and answered. And the Human Library is now available in more than 80 countries, including Ireland. So basically it's somewhere you go and you sit down with people, maybe completely different situation to you in your life, in your lifestyle, and you just learn about them. And
so
understand.
I could sit down with a Chinese businessman.
Yeah. Or,
and say,
you know.
What's it like doing business in China?
Yeah, I suppose you could, yeah. But like you could, someone who has completely different...
Could I sit down with someone who's got schizophrenia? And okay.
Well, like I'm not saying absolutely Jerry's there on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Like obviously you check, but yeah, like you could talk to someone who has, say, schizophrenia, and they can tell you how their experience has been. And
so you say schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
I say schizophrenia, I think. I don't know which is right. Is one right and wrong, or is it just different pronunciations? Is one like the American?
I'm right. Schizophrenia.
Oh, okay. You learned that from Jerry on Thursdays.
Who? Oh, no.
But yeah, don't you think that's interesting? Don't you think that's a really nice way to do it?
Yeah.
That's just sit down and just learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And like I said, it's available in Ireland, so there you go.
Where?
I looked it up. There was actually one in Dunleary.
Oh.
So not too far from us.
Okay.
Yeah. How's that grab you?
Yes, an interesting one.
I thought that would be a nicer way to end such a terrible bastard of a case. There you go.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. If you have a case suggestion or maybe even your own story, email us at mortalmusingspodcast@gmail.com.